Assalamu alaikum. Once again, uh, welcome on the corporate governance lecture. So let's start it from where we left. Okay, so we were talking about the CSR and the reputational links. Now we will move to the another slides, and that is about the shades of the CSR, shades of the CSR. uh, there is some official posture in reality, like there's some spending more on publicizing CSR than actually doing it. There's lip services or strings attached welfare. There's some report says most CSR is lip services and ulterior motive based. So these are some observations on the CSR that different people think that it is only an official posture, like organizations or businesses in reality are not doing the CSR activities. So what happens that they are only spending more on publicizing CSR than actually doing it. So they're saying that their show off is too much rather their work. This is a blame on the industries, on the business industries, from the stakeholders, that that CSR activities are less, but their publicity, their advertisements are so much. That is why they want to increase the activity rather than publicizing the CSR. Similarly, they are saying that is only a lip service, is like only the promises. They only makes the promises attached with the welfare. They only do the strings that is attached with the welfares. So the empty promises will not work for this society. That is why what their demand is. What is the demand of the stakeholders, that it should not only be a lip service. So in this regards, the observations of the society, the observation of the stakeholders is that the businesses shows it only in the shape of official postures, but in reality you cannot get it. Similarly, organizations are doing less CSR activity. However, they're spending more on the advertisement of publicizing the CSR activities. So they're saying that investments on the CSR should be increased rather than spending on the publicizing it. Similarly, they're also saying that there is a lip services. So lip service means that only the organization are doing promises, empty promises, and they are not considering it. Moving to the report says that most CSR is a lip service. So what does this mean? Ulterior motive based, like it is a motive that is only a promise that is not fulfilled. And the history or the literature says that only there's a lip service. They only put this on the paper, irrespective to make it practical. So according to the stakeholder theory, what will be happen? There will be a shade of the CSR activities. Similarly, moving to our next, like over to our next, mm, our next slide, you can see the next slides over here is that is in the shape of what? In the shape of who is watching what. Okay, who is watching what? So you can see this. You can see it. The institutional investor, obviously, the Pensions Investment Research Consultant Limited provides web-based data on how companies are acting on CSR, ethics, environment, etc., regulators, and disclosure requirements. Like from these slides, what does this mean? That who are the companies, or who are the mechanism, bodies, who are the bodies who are watching on the CSR activity, that whether organization are performing the CSR activities or not. So obviously, the people, the investors are looking in it. It means the stakeholders are looking on the CSR activity. Means the institutional investors are in a close look that whether the institution where he is going to invest is working on CSR or not. Similarly, there are some consultant private limiteds who gather the data of the organization, that how much they invest in CSR activities this year. Then this data is in the shape of the database with them. Moreover, you can also have this data in the shape from the Bloomberg as well, from the data stream as well, from the S&P Global as well, from the different other government websites as well, from the environmental protection agencies as well. You can also have the CSR data. They can also have a watch on the CSRs of the company as well. Moreover, regulators, that can be in the shape of the government, that can be in the shape of the state bank, that can be in the shape of the corporate governance standard boards. Regulators is also have a watch on the companies. And disclosure requirement, every organization have to disclose their activities that has been or had been done by them in the past, what type of activities they did, either that they did the social activity, they did the economic activity, or what they did the environmental activity, and how much fund they have reserved for these activities, what is the investment on the society. So all these things are in a close look by the institutional investors, by the different private firms who gather the data, like IRC, like the different regulators, and the most important, that every organization in the end have to disclose their report, and in this report they show their data, that how much they invest on the CSR activities. Formulating CSR activities, you have to formulate the CSR policy. For whom? For employees. You have to discuss it with the employees, for the pressure groups, for the clients, and you have to develop a system. So set a code of ethics outlining CSR values to be upheld. Obviously, without setting a code that will explain the CSR activity, you cannot move forward. That is why you have to set a code. Similarly, you have to establish current position on CSR values. Obviously, CSR values are very much important. Values are considered as the ethics, and these ethics are in the welfare of the stakeholders. So when the stakeholder will be welfared, obviously the CSR activity will be increased, and CSR activities means corporate social responsibility, and will be increased, and thus employees, the pressure group, the clients, they will be satisfied to it. So before formulating the activities, what you have to do, you have to look at the codes, you have to based your current position on the CSR activities, and all these things. Whenever you are going to formulate the CSR policy, you have to keep the stakeholders in your mind. You have to discuss this with the stakeholders. And who are stakeholders? The employees, the pressure groups, the clients, and so on. So after combining all these things, discussing with the stakeholders, with the employees, with the pressure groups, with the governments, and so on, you have to develop a system. You have to set up a system. Moving to CSR policy, you have to devise CSR policy, you have to elaborate the CSR policy, you have to bring a CSR policy, you have to you have to make this policy as impartial, and you should base this policy on the basis of stakeholder theory. And then you have to script, you have to develop, you have to bring, you have to prescribe us these systems, that what type of systems you will have to go. Then you have to go for the establishing the responsibility for each parties, that who what will be done by whom, who will do whom. And similarly set realistic strategies and targets. Without setting the realistic strategies and targets, it's very difficult to get the CSR policies. So for CSR policies, what you have to do, you have to combine all these things and keep all concerned informed. All concerned informed means that you have to inform the all concerned. All concerns are the stakeholders, and monitors should be over there. You have to monitor all these activity under your own bed, under your own ship. Moving to our next, benchmarking in CSR, you do as much as other are doing. You have, you can, and anyone set minimums. You can at least start from the minimum. You should start a bench from the benchmark, and who ensures compliance, you have to ensure the compliance, how to monitor compliance. All these things are the benchmark in CSR. Like without all these things, without initiating, without the minimum standard, without the ensuring the compliance, without the monitoring of the compliance, without the developing of the codes, it will be very difficult to work on such a type of activity that will increase the overall performance of the organization. So what are the bases, how you will, how you can build a CSR? And for building the CSR, your compliance development and your compliance monitoring, and your minimum set of the goals and how you will do it should be very much intact by the organization. So these are the benchmark where you will look. You will look if your compliance is good, if your monitoring is good, if your stakeholders are in line with you. Obviously your CSR standards will be grow very nicely. Moving to the sustainability report, sustainability is very much important. Like either we talk about the businesses, or we talk about the general public, or we talk about the any type of thing, sustainability report should be granted. Like report on social, ethical, health and environmental policies, like what business are doing for the society, what are the reports submitted in the shape of ethics they did in the society, how much they are contributing to the health, and what is the policies regarding the environment. They have to bring a report, because from this report the organization CSR activity, environmental, social, and governance activity, ESG, that is called ESG, is measured. More focused on environment, that is sustainability of the society, than anything else. Obviously, you are earning from the environment, so you have to be very much focused on the environment. That can be in the shape of noise pollution, water pollution, and air pollution. You should bring all those qualities, all those standards in your business, which will control all these noise, water, and air pollution, and that should be directly helpful in the society, which will not affect either the health of the society or the even nowadays the wealth of the society is considered as a sustainability as well. Not a report on company sustainability, financial or otherwise. Obviously you have to bring all these reports, how much you have fixed for the society, what will be the consumption of on the environment, what will be consumption on the governance, and so on. However, with a very unfortunate note, we can say that all these things are not yet mandatory in Pakistan. It is voluntary in Pakistan, This report is voluntary in Pakistan. That is why it is not up to the standard. However, the other reports are very much important for all those companies which is registered by the organizations. The triple bottom line prescribed global reporting initiative, financial performance, impact on environmental and natural resources, and social benefit and cost. A lot of research work has been done on this. A lot of literature is available on Google Scholar about all these global reporting initiatives, financial performances like market performance, accounting performance, and economic performance, impact on environmental and natural resources. We can have a lot of research papers, journals, books, case studies on all these things, and what are the social benefits and cost on all these things. We can have a lot of these things. CSR specific model that is called environmental indicators, social indicators, environmental indicators, social indicators, and governance indicators. I think so. There is something missing in this. So let me discuss that ESG should be written like ESG economic indicator, ES social indicator on the second, and then environmental indicators. This is basically CSR model, corporate social responsibility model. You have to keep all these three things in mind whenever you are doing any business anywhere in the world. You have to keep the economic indicators. You should not skim all the businesses from that area. You have to keep the environmental indicators, like we discussed a lot about it. Then you have to keep the social indicators as well. Society, you have to invest on the society and their health and their schooling and so on. Economic indicators very easily, like no, it's the in the shape of the revenue, obviously, in the shape of the earning, in the shape of dividend per share, sales volume, and market shares. These are the indicators. If you will contribute in the CSR activity, your revenue will be increasing, your earning will be increasing, your dividend per share will be increased, your sales volume will be increased, your market share will be increased. These are the indicators of the that is called economic indicators, and this is basically directly linked with the CSR models, that is called economic indicators, environmental indicators, social. So in economic indicators, revenue, earning, dividend per share, sales volume, market share, these are directly linked with the CSR activity. Similarly, environmental, the global energy use, global carbon dioxide emissions, global non-recycled waste, global waste consumption, company sites certified to ISO 4001. This is very much another indicators, like if an organization who is working on the CSR activities, on the ESG activities, they have to follow the CG activities, then they have to go for all these global energy use, how much they are using the energy, how much they are contributing in the CO2 emissions, what will be the global non-recycled waste. Like currently organizations have to contribute to the certified ISO 4001. Until and unless you are not contributing to the environmental indicators, you cannot get this 14001 as a standard. That is ISO standard. Social indicator, community is very much important, like stakeholders we have discussed, employees, number of employees, are how much society you are affecting, diversity, percentage of working female, means that is the dual, that is basically how much females are working and male are working, equal employment opportunity, in the shape of minority groups, number of discriminations charges, brought against the company. Obviously, how much decision you have taken against the person who is guilty, employee satisfaction and injuries, what you did. So these are the social indicators. Like if you are going to measure any organizations, then you have to keep ESG, environmental, social and governance. And this is a social indicator, like what are the different type of variables on the basis of which you can measure any organizations. Then if they are working on all these things, then the performance of the organization will increase. Public sector, obviously common health association for corporate governance guidelines. You can get guidelines for the corporate governance from Commonwealth Association, that is CSCG. You can get measure significant companies are governed by own directors are political nominees, not independent. Serve shortage of able directors. Obviously, the public sectors. Like you can keep all these points in your mind. That is in the you can get the measures are significant companies governed by, about the directors, about the civil. All these guidelines can be taken from the Commonwealth Association for Corporate Governance. Whistleblower, who is a whistleblower? Obviously it can be a government, it can be any stakeholder, it can be the organization employees, it can be the bodies that have a watch on you. Connection of WB whistleblower with corporate governance. What is the connection of whistleblower with the corporate governance? Either they are relevant with it or they are bias with it. If they are relevant with it, then obviously they can do the whistleblowers. And honest and malicious whistleblower, obviously you can have what type of whistleblower it is, whether these are the honest or whistleblowers, and internal and external whistle, who are blowing the whistle against the organization policies, against the CSR policies, area of concern. Either they are employees, have access to all the data, or whistleblower are punished, not reward. Obviously, if you will bring something against any organization, that will punish you, that will not reward you. This is a general concept. And disregard is grip. Obviously you have to be disregarded as the grip as well. Whistleblower best practice: recognize the importance, set a procedure, involve non-executives directorate, avoid the executive, and keep the secret, keep the confidentiality. And then legal protection to whistleblower, like UK Public Interest Disclosure Act 1998, engaging clause in employment agreement. Like simple word, whistleblowing means that how you will, what type of the problem in the shape of the CSR, or in the shape of the company reports, or in the shape of the earning management, or in the shape of the other problem that is in the organization, and you will have to bring in the shape of whistleblower. You, like in football, when there is a whistleblower, then obviously something get either wrong, or want to stop the judge want to stop the play. So you, being a whistleblower, will do all these things. But sometimes whistleblower may not be rewarded, and it can be punished as well, because in the organizations, when you bring your voice against the rules that is not suitable for the stakeholders, then at the end you have to be punished on it. So disclosure, what are the disclosures? There is internal disclosure and external disclosure. What type of thing you have to disclose? That should be in the good faith, that should be in the no personal gain, and you should be have a very reasonable reasonable connection with the disclosure. Like disclosure means everything should be in front of the people, every should be in front of the stakeholders, everything should be in the shape of the good faith. There should be no personal growth gain on it. Then similarly, internal before external laws have so far not been effective. Laws have so not been effective. So why laws have so far not been effective? Because the disclosure is not in the shape of the standard. So what is the recommendations guided on the whistleblower, that before whistleblowing what should be recommended? The first one is documented procedure, named office to be handled as a whistleblower. Then you have to take the example of what is not misconduct. Then consequences of false or miraculous allegations split out, and then external route also indicated, and then investigation procedures. So what basically this means, that for a good whistleblower, you have to keep these recommendation in your mind, that it should be properly documented. There should be, you should know about the consequences if you bring a false allegations. You should know about the investigation procedure, because being a whistleblower, what you are saying, you are bringing your voice against the organization or something that is not according to the standard in any organization. So you should know about the consequences of it, and if it is like false, so you have to be very much careful in the whenever you are going to become as a whistleblower. So these are the recommendations of the for the whistleblower. So in today's lecture, what we did, we started in the shape of the ethics. Then what is the role of the corporate governance officer? Then we discuss about the reputation, that is very much important, in the shape of the product, in the shape of the management, in the shape of the profits, and in the shape of the social posture as well. Then we discuss it is a reputational risk is directly linked with the organizational growth, is directly linked with the product growth, is directly linked with the sustainability of the organization. Then we discuss what is ethics, that is law, regulation, codes, and standards. And then we discuss about the code of the ethics, avoiding conflict of interest, avoiding confidentiality. You have to do the fair dealing with everyone. You have to protection of the company. You have to do the compliance with laws, rules, and regulation. Then you have to encourage, and thus corporate social responsibility is discussed. We discuss about the CSR and reputational risk. We discuss about the financial implication of the organization. Then what is the shares, how you will go through CSR activity. Then who is the watching, who are the organization that have a close look on you. We discuss about it. We discuss about the regulators. We discuss about the what are the disclosure requirements. We discuss about the stakeholders, that is institutional investors. We then discuss about the how the CSR policy can be formulated. It means, in a simple word, you have to ask from the stakeholders, from the employer, from the pressure group, from the clients. Whenever you are going to formulate any CSR activity, then CSR policy should be devised everywhere in the organization. It should be spread in the organization through a prescribed system, which will establish the responsibility in a realistic strategies, and all the concerns should be informed, and monitoring should be achieved. Similarly, you have what are the benchmark, what you have to do, what you can do, from where you will start, what will be the base, how you will take the base, what will be the compliance. You have to keep all these things in mind. Then sustainability report, very much important for any organization, that should can be report on the social, ethical and environmental. You can go for all these report, and you have to focus on the environment, that may be in the shape of nice air and water as well. Then we discuss about the triple bottom line. Then we discuss about the what are the specification, the specific model that is very much important. That is called ESG model, environmental, social, and governance model. So what are the components in the environmental models? What are the in the economic model, that is called economic indicators, that is in the shape of the revenue generation, earnings, dividend per share, sales volume, and market share. Obviously your economic indicator of any organizations will be in the shape of the revenue. These are the measurement of the economic growth, like revenue, earning, dividends, sales volume, and market shares are the measurement. So these can be improved through the CSR activity, through the CG activities, like if you will implement the activities, like if you implement the corporate governance codes, if you will participate in the CSR activity, and obviously it will improve. Similarly, environmental indicator are the global energy, what energy use, what is your contribution to CO2 emissions, how the global non-recycled waste you have to do. These are the means. Being a businessman, you have to work on the ESG. You have to work on the CSR specific model, that is called ESG model. Moreover, the last one is the social indicators, what you are doing for the community, what you are doing for the employee, what you are doing for the diversity, what you are doing for the employer satisfaction, and how the injuries are reported. What is the public sector? From where you can get the guidelines. Obviously, from the major significant companies, you can get the guidelines. From the directors and political nominees, you can get from the severe shortage of able director. Obviously, although there is shortage of able directors, but these are the people. From here you can get the whistleblower. Very important, should be very careful. He should bring the truth of the organization, but this truth be based on the reality. There should the whistleblower should not be personal. Who can be a anyone can be a whistleblower, either from the internal or external. But whatever you will disclose, what type of discussion you will bring on the table about any organization, you should be very much clear about the consequences as well. Either from the areas of employees, you can be a whistleblower, or from the area of the external community as well. You being a whistleblower, what you have to do, you have to recognize the importance that you currently what you are whistleblowing. You have to set the procedure, you have to do the legal protection, you have to do all these things before going to whistleblow. Then what should be disclosed, that should be disclosed in the shape of the good faith. There should be no personal gain. Your intention should be very clear, and it should have some reasons that should be benefit for the overall organizations. And you have to be within the law. It means law has so far not been effective in such a situations. And at the end, what will be the recommendations, that documented procedure, whatever you will bring in the shape of whistleblower, it should be documented. It should be name of the office, example of what is not misconducted. You should know about the consequences, you should know about the investigation, and so on. And thus you have to go for all this. So today we discuss about the CSR activities, about the corporate social responsibility activity, about the environmental, social, and governance activity. We discuss about the ethics, we discuss about the reputation, we discuss about the whistleblowers, that how, when, where, and what type of whistle you have to blow whenever it requires, and you should know about the consequences of this as well. So currently this is the end of the lecture for today. So if you people have any type of questions, you can just discuss with me